Well, you've got 2 extra kids, so that makes sense. Stephanie?
I just like that smiley face too.
And Tammy?
I agree with both. I like the smiley face, and it's satisfied, and I'm pretty satisfied.
Fantastic. All right, so these are just some of the ways that we can see you in a virtual classroom. To start with, yes, sorry?
I just wanted to let everybody know that we're recording the session. It's not going to go anywhere except for Shauna. It's just so we can improve how we're doing.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Okay, so to start with, we will go over a few ground rules, as in any live classroom where we would share where the bathrooms are, where to park, etc. There are also a few ground rules in a virtual classroom. Thank you again, everyone, so much for signing in early. Issues that may have come up. Please take a moment to turn off any email or other distractions. We appreciate your participation in sharing and discussions because we do value your input. And above all, bring your sense of adventure and laughter. Now we will introduce the team to you and then have the chance to meet each other in an engaging virtual activity. So let's get started. My name is Shauna Langley, and I'm the Military Family Services Coordinator in the interim at Tinker Air Force Base. I am very excited to be sharing my final presentation with all of you. Over the last few weeks, I have been learning about the exciting world of virtual training. And one of my biggest takeaways is that really it is limited only by our imagination. And my producer for today is Margaret. Margaret? Margaret, are you going to introduce yourself?
No, so I muted. Hi, my name is Margaret McKenzie, and Rachel, I was wondering if you can mute your microphone.
I can. I kind of figured.
Just click. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So my name is Margaret McKenzie, and I'm the Virtual Program Coordinator for the MFRC in Prince Edward Island from my home office in Winnipeg. Definitely a virtual job, and I started learning virtual when I was in Europe with Stephanie, actually. We had more than 400 families living in 16 countries, and we needed to connect. So since then, we've developed a wonderful training program. It's about a 15-week training program that Shauna has taken part on how to adapt a live presentation to a virtual audience. And this is Shauna's final project to get her certificate, but it's not her final project ever. I'm sure she will be doing more virtual, and she's very enthusiastic about this tool. So back over to you, Shauna.
Thank you, Margaret. And you are absolutely right. This is not the end of the road for me. Okay, so now we are going to play a game using the whiteboard, which is on the left-hand side of your screen. Let me draw your eyes to our whiteboard tools, which are in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Like the icons, you would click once to activate and again to put them away. The large arrow on the far left is the pointer tool. Click on it once, and using your pointer tool, claim a square. And if you could each pick a different square, that would be fantastic. All right. Do we have everyone? Okay, perfect. To the right of the pointer tool icon is a capital T. That is your text tool. Click on it now to activate and type your name in the square that you have claimed. To prevent writing past your square, you can hit return and your writing will continue below. Once you are done writing, you must click away from your square so that we can all see what you have written. Some colors, yellow in particular, I lost my place there, are difficult to see. To change your color, click on the drop-down menu of the color box, which is beside or 3 over from your text tool, and select a different color. Try that now and write your location with your new color.
Okay, so the drop-down menu of the color box, change the color, and then write the location.
And don't forget to click away so that we can see where you are from.
There's some really small fonts. Do you want to share how to change the font?
Yes, I think that I will do that. If you go up to the upper left-hand corner of your computer, you will see an edit button. If you click on that, you can go down and see font. You click on that, and then you can change your font size using that. So if you need to do that, go ahead.
Traditionally, Macs have tiny fonts, so where 16 would be big in a real world, you could go like 30 and it's the right size.
Yes, the Mac world is an odd world.
There we go. Tammy's got it. San Diego.
Okay.
Edmond. Rachel, you've gotten a little bit bigger. Kim, Oklahoma. Stephanie, Edmond, and Jen is from Edmond as well.
Excellent. All right. So 3 icons to the right of the pointer tool, you will see a marker tool. Please click on it, and using your marker tool, draw a picture of your favorite animal in your square. And if anyone has any questions at any time, don't hesitate to put your hand up.
I think everybody must have their tongue sticking out because they're very quiet while they're doing their drawing.
They really are.
Mine looks like a trampoline.
You'll notice I'm not drawing today because mine quite often looks like an alien animal or something.
We've used this tool to play Pictionary. We've done art therapy, all kinds of ways to use this tool in a virtual classroom.
It is so much fun to do that. All right, if everyone can just give me a green check when they are done. All right, fantastic. So Jen.
Yes.
Your animal is...
I don't know what I was doing.
It's a smiley face? That's a very nice
drawing,
animal.
Yeah. I'm a happy animal.
Excellent. I love that. Okay. Stephanie?
I was going to do a dragonfly only because I thought that was easy, but a butterfly was a lot easier.
Okay. Well, that's a very good butterfly. There you go. That looks good on yours now, Jen. Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Kim, you obviously chose a cat.
Meow.
And that's a beautiful cat. Wow, that is fantastic. Rachel?
It's not my favorite. It is the easiest, the snake.
Okay, yeah, I don't think that that's your favorite by any stretch. So that would be maybe your least favorite?
But easiest.
Did you say snake,
Easiest.
Rachel?
I did. It looks like a pretty wonky snake, though.
And are there rattlers where you are?
Actually, there was a snake that tried to get in our garage. My husband thinks it was a cottonmouth.
Yeah.
So
Is the cottonmouth dangerous?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe they are, yes.
Lovely.
So,
Yeah, fantastic.
mhm.
Okay, Tammy, is yours a cat or a dog, or is that your Jack Russell?
I am so bad at drawing, especially on the Mac here. But anyways, it's a cat. Or sorry, it's a dog.
Okay.
It does look
Not
like
bad
a
at
cat,
drawing
I
at
know, I
all.
was thinking-
No, it looks really good. Yeah. Yeah, I think that looks
Well,
great.
thanks for being so kind.
And Margaret, your favorite animal is a trampoline? Oh, that's fantastic. That's a lot of fun doing this kind of an exercise. All right, those were some great pictures. And does anyone at this time have an amusing story about pet relocation that they would maybe like to share with the group? And please give me a smiley face if you do. Now, I can start because I do actually have kind of an amusing story. Although it was not amusing at the time, I can laugh about it now. But we were on our way moving to Cornwall from North Bay, and we had our little tent trailer it was a hard-sided trailer that we were going to be taking the dog and the cat with us. And the cat got out of the trailer the morning that we were leaving, and we were wandering all over the neighborhood. We couldn't find her. We were hollering. We had the dog trying to find her, and we finally did find her in the neighbor's yard underneath a very small spruce tree or evergreen tree, so the branches were very low. And of course, when we found her, she pranced out like it was no big deal, and expected to be petted and fed and given water. So that was, again, not amusing at the time, but amusing now. All right, so Jen.
I don't have one from an actual posting move, but like I said, we've traveled with Piper a couple times between Winnipeg and the cottage. And the first time we did, you know, you're kind of crossing the border with kids, and we always drove through the state. And so we got to the border, and the guy's asking a few questions, and then he had our passports, and so he looks at the passport, he looks up at Dale, who's driving, and then he looks back down, he asks another question, and then he looks up, and when he looked up again, he was looking at my passport and was intending to look at me in the passenger seat, but Piper, who had been sleeping in the back seat on the floor, had popped up in between the front seat and was looking at the guy, and he looks back over, and all he sees is this puppy. She was only like 6 months at the time. She was like tongue hanging out, and he just cracked up, and then he couldn't stop laughing, and that was it. It was like he was done with the questions. He was like, okay, you can just go now because I'm done. He was just like, that was not what he was totally expecting to look up and see me and ask me serious American border guard questions. So yeah, it was pretty hilarious. That was it. He was like, okay, you can just go now.
Oh, I love that. That is hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's so funny. Tammy.
Mine was basically when I moved here to San Diego, my little dog Peanut was quarantined for a little while in a little bit of a cage, and she kept whining and crying, and so she was becoming very, very annoying. And as we were filling out our paperwork and standing in line, I can hear her whining, and she was annoying the agents. And so I'm looking at the agent, and I'm like, well, and I'm feeling awful because, you know, where she's located, and so I have tears coming down my eyes because I'm just feeling, I'm like, I'm really sorry, but, you know, he's like, listen, ma'am, you can go sit in there with her, but you have to close the cage. So here I am sitting in a cage with my dog. They're like all dogs.
Oh, that's funny.
Kind of cuddling her, and so, you know, people are coming in, so it's kind of funny. So it was all good. We were there for about, I guess, 40 minutes, and then we were on our way. So.
Oh, that's sweet. All right, thank you, everyone, for those great stories. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes of our session. Your posting message comes in, and suddenly you have what seems like, of course, too many things to do and not enough time. One thing that must not be overlooked is preparing your pets for the upcoming move. And can you give me a green check if you have ever moved with a pet? And I think we've pretty much covered this in the past, or just already in this presentation. And can you let me know what your furthest move was? I'll start with Jen and just work my way down the line.
I think our first move with the pet was from Comox to Cold Lake with our last Labradoodle. We always shipped him, actually. This is the first time that we've actually driven with the dog. When our last Labradoodle, we had younger kids, so we always shipped him. Okay.
All right. Tammy, your furthest move?
Would be San Diego.
Okay. And Margaret?
Germany.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, everyone. So I've listed a few things that you should discuss with your vet before you move, such as vaccinations, and of course dogs and cats have some similar and some different vaccinations that they would need. So dogs, you would need rabies, distemper, perhaps parvovirus, bordetella, or Lyme disease, and cats, rabies, distemper, bordetella. Sometimes you are required to quarantine a pet when relocating. Sometimes you require a pet passport or a health certificate from the vet. Has anyone ever had to have a pet passport or had a pet quarantined or a health certificate? Just raise your hand. Oh, okay, Stephanie.
Yeah, we needed a pet passport when we moved to Germany for our dog. Yeah.
Okay, Tammy.
We needed a pet passport, and she was quarantined.
Okay, and that was when you came to San Diego?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, interesting.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Margaret?
So I have a question, Stephanie. Pet passports aren't common in Canada. How did you get a pet passport in Canada?
We didn't. We got it once we got to Germany. It wasn't required when we got there, and the only thing that we knew was definitely do not land in England, because if you land in England, then your dog is, or pet is, quarantined. But we knew that we might travel with her in Germany, so the vet gave us a pet passport.
Ah. Oh, very good. And Tammy, when you were quarantined, where were you quarantined? Where was your dog quarantined?
So we were quarantined, I'm just trying to think now, which it was just on the other side of Toronto in, oh gosh, just slipped my mind which state it was, but it was just as we came across from Toronto into whatever the state was that bordered Toronto. And so they, we passed all Peanut's information, and they just took her and put her in a quarantine area. For how long? It was about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, until they went through all our paperwork with her, and they checked all her...
Interesting.
So in England, I think the quarantine is longer than that. Is it not, Stephanie?
Yes, it can be up to 30 days, but it is normally a good solid 2 weeks.
Wow.
So do you have to stay where you are then? Like, do they look after them? How do they do that?
Yeah, they do look after them. Yeah, as soon as they arrive at the airport, you're to have no contact, and they go into quarantine.
You have to pay a fee for that?
I believe so. And it used to be covered under Brookfield, but as
the infamous Brookfield.
Yes, I know. As far as I know, it's not anymore. This, when the changes came about traveling with pets. So
apparently pets are not part of the family anymore.
That's right.
No.
Exactly. Kind of disappointing.
I use my outdoor voice.
But the state of
it's
I was trying to think of was Detroit.
Okay, interesting.
Detroit. Oh, okay. At least it was only that short time.
Yeah. That was
very
wow.
short time, but kind of scary, because in the sense that I didn't think that most states that you had, they would quarantine. I know Hawaii does, but I was surprised California.
Interesting. Huh. Stephanie.
Well, the other thing that was pretty interesting was some of our good friends were in Germany, and they had relatives up in London. So they made sure to get all the paperwork ready for their dog. They had a little Jack Russell, and were driving to London, and they had their pet passport, all the immunizations, all their little chains or whatever on their collar, and they were denied entry into England and told they could put their dog in quarantine and go on their vacation and then pick him up at their expense on the way back, or they were not allowed in. So they had to turn around and go back and drop the dog off at a kennel and then go back to London.
Oh, wow.
That was after checking to make sure that they had all the paperwork, but one of their, I guess, the vet missed some kind of shot or something. But yeah, crazy.
How terrible that is.
Yes.
Oh. And how do they these poor dogs and cats, and trying to get them to understand, that's just terrible. Oh, wow. Okay, so obviously proper planning can certainly ease a relocation process. However, obviously we've seen certain things will pop up, but it can ease the relocation and help minimize any surprises that you may encounter while moving. Does anyone have any other things that they think that they might want to check with their vet? If you do, raise your hand. Jen.
I was just going to say one of the things that was a concern for us coming here was availability of food, because Piper was on a special vet diet, which we knew we could get at any vet in Canada. So that was one thing that we did look into and discuss with the vet. And we were also talking about food changes coming up. And so we decided that it was better to hold off and do the change after we were here, so that we wouldn't be choosing a food that wasn't readily available where we were moving to. So. And
you've made that transition now?
I did find another food. So I mean, we could have got the food that we were on here, but she has some allergies, so food has been an issue for us a little while. So.
Good point, Jen. Stephanie.
That's a great point, because we didn't do any of that research, because we knew that her food was from PetSmart, and we knew that PetSmart was here, so we thought it would be all the same, but it is not. And so the food that she was eating in Canada is not available here. So we had to switch once we got here. And we were also told that you can get your dog food seized at the border, so we only moved with a very small bag. So we were in a little bit of a pickle, but she was fine.
You can get your dog food seized because there's meat in it.
Yes. So we thought, we brought a small package and didn't have it in a container, is what we were told. And it was all fine. But had we have moved with a bigger bag, it would have made the transition to her new food, I think, easier. Mm-hmm. But she loves to eat, so we've had no issues.
Excellent. Okay.
So, Shauna.
Yes.
I wanted to add that on August 25th, on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 5:30 Oklahoma time, another one of our students, Joyce, is doing a eating pet healthy workshop for 1 hour.
That's right.
So we're happy to send you the link for that registration if you're interested. Give me a green check if you're interested in that workshop, and I can send you the information on it. Red X if you're okay. Okay, Jen, I'll send it to you, and Tammy. Stephanie, sure.
Fantastic. Yes, that will be a very good presentation. I'm looking forward to that one as well. All right, so moving along. I have included 3 links that can be very useful for moving with your pets. The first 2 websites can be used to help you find a vet in the U.S. or Canada. There's lots of information regarding pet travel on the internet. There's so many websites, you can just put it in your Google search and you'll get tons of them coming up. But at this time, I am going to share my web browser with you so that we can explore one of the websites that I found, which is pettravelcenter.com. And it has some very good information about pet travel. So I will do this right now.
So we're taking this little tour of a website that you could also look at, and you'll be getting this link in the after-session email as well.
Absolutely. Now that I'm sharing my desktop or my web browser, you will have noticed that the participant panel has disappeared and the chat box. And if you go up to the very top middle of your computer, you'll see a green tab. Just hover your mouse over there, and you can click on Participants and Chat, and they will pop up on the right-hand side of your screen. If you click on them right now, just do that and give me a green check when you've done that and you have your participant panel. All right. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. So we're not going to go through the entire website. I am just going to share one thing with you that quite often will pop up when you're talking about traveling with your pet. And we're going to look at when you're flying with your pet, and we'll just scroll down right here to the sedation of pets and air travel. And of course, one of the things that they say, don't sedate or tranquilize your pets when traveling by air. The American Humane Society or Humane Association cautions veterinarians and pet owners that sedation of pets traveling by air is not generally recommended. The pet's safety is at risk. And I actually have a quote from Dr. Patricia Olson, who is with the American Humane Association. She said, an animal's natural ability to balance and maintain equilibrium is altered under sedation, and when the kennel is moved around, a sedated animal may not be able to brace and prevent injury. Which that would be awfully scary for a pet, I'm sure, to sort of be aware of what's going on but not be able to do anything about it. So I will stop sharing my web browser now, and we'll be back to the presentation. And another point to consider is that pets are unable to regulate their body temperature by panting and tail wagging if they are sedated. So generally it's, you know, and I think back in the day, they probably recommended sedation for all sorts of stuff, and now they don't. So some very good points to consider when you have to travel. All right, moving along. Now we're going to discuss some of the supplies that we may need for traveling with our pets. Using your pointer tool, which is the big arrow in the upper left-hand corner, claim a square on the whiteboard. Okay. Now that you have claimed your square, using your text tool, which is the big T right beside your pointer tool, write down some of the supplies that you think you might need for your pet during the move. And this could be for either air travel or car travel. And don't forget to click away so that we can all see what you've written. And if you would give me a smiley face when you are finished, we'll maybe talk about some of the supplies that you've picked. Who's that yawning? Am I boring you that much?
I don't know who that was. That's funny.
See, that's where mute is
It's really
fun to have
too.
sometimes, but it's also we're real people, right? In a classroom, you hear the yawns. It's all part of the fun of being human.
Absolutely. All right. And don't forget to give me a smiley face when you're all finished. Wow, I can see some fantastic things written down.
Sorry, Kim, I peeked at yours.
That's all good. I like sharing.
Play nice in the sandbox.
Woohoo!
Okay. All right. So maybe we'll just take a couple of your lists and we'll talk about them. Jen, I think you have a fairly extensive list. Let's take a look. What do you have here?
Well, the properly sized kennel is a big one. The first time that we shipped Turner, we left him in Comox with my sister, and he had a flight booked about a week later to come to Cold Lake, and they got down to the airport and they wouldn't accept him in the kennel. So not only had we paid, $300 for a large dog kennel that we then had to sell at a loss, but then they had to rebook him on a flight the next week, and my sister and they had to drive back down to Nanaimo the next week with an extra large kennel. So when they talk about the kennel regulations, if you're flying your animal, you really need to know that you have a properly sized kennel. So that was a big lesson learned.
Jen, is it because you didn't know that your dog was large or medium or whatever they decide it is, and they had a different...
Well, it was just our first time shipping, and the airlines have regulations. They have to be able to sit and fully stand and turn around in the kennel. Oh, so he was in the kennel that we were shipping him in was, we certainly felt that he was comfortable in it for the length of time he was going to be in it. But it was obviously, they determined that it wasn't large enough for him to stand without having to bow his head. And Turner was a pretty big dog, so he needed an extra large.
Okay, that is a fantastic point.
Yeah, they said they might have shipped him if it had been a nonstop flight, but because he had to change, they said they'd had trouble, he had to change planes in Vancouver. And they said they've had instances where Vancouver would then put him back on a flight to Nanaimo rather than put him on a plane to Cold Lake, or Edmonton, which made no sense. But yeah, lesson learned. Make sure the kennel is the right size for your dog, or they will not take it.
Fantastic. Rachel, I noticed that you put medication. That's a fantastic point. That would be something that I could see myself forgetting. I don't know about anyone else, but that is a great point. And favorite toys, of course, yes. We've got lots of immunization information, bowls, bed, favorite toys. Wow, you guys are great. There's a lot of stuff. Not drugs to knock out the...
Every pound of dog is a pound of things, right?
Absolutely. All right. Okay, thanks everyone. These are some fantastic things that you've put down on your lists. So in a virtual classroom, we always like to include some of the answers just to make sure we have a great discussion. Obviously, we can see that you guys really hit it out of the park, and you listed, I think, just going through this, I think you listed all of them, I think, but wow, fantastic. Just let me draw your attention to one of the items that I feel very passionate about, and it should not be overlooked, the pet seatbelt. To keep pets from becoming projectiles and thus a danger to themselves as well as other family members in the vehicle, using a seatbelt is the best way to prevent this. We use a seatbelt for our dogs, and although our last so Abby did not like it at first, she eventually got used to it. And I have to confess, my husband did not really embrace the idea of it because he loved to have our Lhasa app so on his lap barking at all of the cars. So, you know, I also had to train him to
Train him or your husband?
I had to train the dogs and my husband because I think he felt the sense of loss as much as Abby did. Can anyone tell me where you might get some of the supplies? If you raise your hand, I'll ask a couple of you. Anyone? Okay. Jen?
I mean, most things you can probably pick up at a PetSmart. Any good pet store will have pet seatbelts and that kind of stuff. Fantastic.
Kim?
Well, I've seen I've gone with friends to vets here, and the vets seem to be very well equipped and quite knowledgeable about some of the specialty items for pet safety.
Good point. Stephanie?
After our first long road trip with Violet, and she decided that she was going to, about an hour we were outside of New Brunswick, and she decided enough was enough, and she started sitting on my kids' lap and drooling on their books and on their iPads and things like that. So we went to Canadian Tire when we were at my mom's house and bought a barricade for the back of our SUV, and it has made the world of difference traveling with her. And that was from Canadian Tire. So we use that every time now in the car.
Fantastic.
Does she cry?
No, she doesn't cry, but she thinks she's a lap dog. And she's 60-some pounds and wants to sit on your lap while you're driving. So in the back seat, that's not good enough for her. She wants the front.
Oh, fantastic. That's a good point. And a barricade will do the same. It'll keep them safe and keep them, protected from flying around in the if there's a possibility of getting in an accident or anything. Margaret.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one other part. There are always asked for military rates because I think it's PetSmart. The last Thursday of every month gives military members a 10% discount with the CF1 appreciation card. And a lot of pet places will give you a discount, and so we buy Sadie's monthly food on that Thursday.
Oh, good point.
$10 a month.
That's fantastic.
Great. And so if you want to know anything more about the CF1 appreciation card, there's a website there, and it's got great information. Just to show, could you give me a green check if you have a CF1 card? Red X if you do not?
I actually just received mine last week. So it can be applied for when you're in the U.S. And actually, Margaret, I'll try to remember to include that link as well on in the after session email.
Excellent, because that you can get a week vacation for $360 in a 4-star resort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started glancing through it. It's a good deal.
Great.
Okay. So even though supplies are very important when planning for a move, we also have to look at some of the logistics of relocation. Every year, we hear horror stories of pets that have been left in a hot car and sadly died because of the heat. Mm-hmm. Margaret is going to put a link in the chat box of a video that I would like you to take just a few minutes to watch. You would need to first mute your microphone and just to prevent some feedback, and I'll ask you all to do that now. Once you click on the link, you can watch the video, and after you are finished watching it, click on the blue and green ball on the bottom toolbar, and it will bring you back to the presentation. When you are finished, can you just give me a green check, and go ahead and watch the video now.
Remember to give us a green check when you're back.
And if you're finished, again, just give me a green check. And we'll just wait for Rachel to finish up. And don't forget to unmute yourself when you come back. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. So what do you think of the video? If anyone wants to raise your hand and share what they thought of that. Tammy.
I think it's a fantastic video. It really raises the point not to leave your pets in a car, because that's a huge pet peeve of mine. The sun is extremely hot, and I find even so much so here in the south. And so when I see pets in cars, it just infuriates me. So I saw that video and I went, yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great video. I'd almost like to print it out or something and put a big sticker on the people's cars when I see the pets.
Exactly.
That's a great idea, Tammy.
Yeah, it is. That's a fantastic idea. Kim.
I absolutely agree. There's times when I just open my car door and I don't even want to get in until I've opened the doors and let it air out. Because it's just so brutally hot here. I can't imagine some poor little animal stuck in there.
Margaret.
Yes, I remember a story just this summer. A family in Winnipeg were at a restaurant and they left their dog in the car. And so the police were called because they didn't know where the family was. The police were called. They didn't break the window, but then eventually the family came out, and the woman came out actually, and got in the car. Where the police was giving her a ticket, he said, now, I have the dog here. What I want you to do is go in that car and close all your windows, leave them open an inch, and I'm going to write the ticket out here with your dog with me. So he made her sit in that car for 10 minutes.
Wow.
While he was writing the
Fantastic.
ticket, taking his time, and she got the message.
That is absolutely wonderful. I wish every police officer would think to do that.
Make it sued, I guess, right?
I guess so. Jen.
That's one of the reasons why we always shipped Turner, was because when you have little kids and you need to stop frequently and you want to go in to eat, unless that dog is really comfortable, or those pets are comfortable in a kennel in a hotel, then you're really limited as to what you can do. So to avoid the having to leave a dog or having to have one person sit outside while everyone else goes in to eat, that's why we always decided to ship pets.
Very true.
You can.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, and even on the way down here this summer, Stephanie and Dave warned Dale about, maybe you can share your story, Stephanie, about the pause and how incredible the heat was even outside traveling.
Oh yeah, we were making our way down and stopped for the night in St. Louis, and I think it was the first day that we really sort of noticed a big difference in the heat. And we knew it was in the 90s, and we were traveling in two vehicles, and my husband got Violet out of the car, and I went in to check in, and the kids, everyone was just stretching, and my husband said it looked like our dog was dancing, and they kind of giggled and then realized that her paws were burning on the asphalt in the parking lot. And,
doesn't take long.
No, it doesn't.
Did she have to have cream? Did it burn like?
One pad was pretty red, and so it was one of her back paws, which was probably the best because she didn't lick it. But it got better. It didn't. We thought it might blister, but it was okay. But we didn't make that mistake again.
For sure.
Think about that.
No, you wouldn't.
It's very, very hot. We did see something on the news down here, too, that said when the temperature is a certain degrees, how hot the asphalt is.
That's a really good point. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah.
We were super thankful for the warning, because when we stopped in St. Louis 2 weeks later, I was very cautious about watching. And someone said, basically, if you put your hand on the asphalt and you can't keep your hand there for more than, 2 or 3 seconds, then it's too hot to walk. It's too hot to walk your dog.
Good point, Jen.
So.
Tammy, you have something?
Yeah, I just like to share that actually I find here in San Diego it's a very, very pet-friendly place. So you see a lot of places that have water sitting outside of their places. You can bring them in shopping, patios for pets. A lot of the hotels are for pets. I also find that you don't see a lot of people walking their dogs before after 11 a.m. or before 5 p.m. simply because of the hot the hot roads and walkways for the pets. So very, very pet friendly here.
Excellent. Kim.
Yeah, I had no idea how hot it got, but when the grandkids were here, I stepped out on the concrete patio to do something, and my feet burned. And I was like, oh, my Lord. I had to run and get carpets and foam mats so that the grandkids could get from the door across the patio onto the grass. It was that hot, even on the bright white concrete, which you would think would reflect some of the heat. It was so hot you couldn't be out in your bare feet at all.
It's unbelievable how hot it can get. And I mean, here in Oklahoma, when it's 110 degrees, just out in the sun, I can't even imagine how hot it would be in a car. It would happen very quickly, I think. I also shared on the whiteboard is a graph. This was an experiment that was done by the state of Louisiana several years ago, and they just graphed the difference between a car with windows closed and windows open, which of course is what the vet talked about in the video. It really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I think you would have to have the windows down all the way, parked in the shade on a really windy day for it to, you know, obviously I'm not a professional, but I would think that would be the only way you would get any breeze, and even then I wouldn't want to leave my dogs in the car. So yeah, it does not take long for it to be a very dangerous situation for your pets. And one of the things that we actually already talked a little bit about was stopping for meals when you have a pet in the vehicle. And, you know, for us, we always have our trailer, so we put the dogs in the trailer with a fan on, lots of water, and of course, because it's insulated, it retains the coolness from having the air conditioner on the night before. But if you don't have a trailer, something like that, it can be very difficult. And I see that Margaret put down, if you look for a restaurant with a patio or a drive-through, or sometimes you can even make a picnic lunch the night before and pack it in a cooler and stop at a rest area. Obviously, that takes a little bit more time and a little bit more work, but it's, you know, definitely worth it to have your pet make it very safely to your new location. Jen, you have a question.
I was just going to say, we started getting pretty sick of fast food and drive-thrus, so our new thing is when we're driving, we just go into a grocery store, and you can usually pick up pre-made salads or sandwiches, and the kids really like the Lunchables. And then, so we do that a little bit ahead of time, and then either find a park or do that, you know, mid-morning on the way through, and then stop at a rest station. So you don't actually have to pack a full-on picnic, but it's a great alternative when traveling with pets.
Fantastic. That's a great point. Moving on to our next slide. And thanks for all those great suggestions, everyone, and that good feedback about the video. I think it's a very important thing to consider when you're moving with your pets. So as pet owners, we should always be mindful of the responsibilities that come while traveling with pets. Pet etiquette is something that should never be overlooked. So what is pet etiquette? Can you write in the chat box one thing what you think might be considered good pet etiquette? Am I stumping you yet? Excellent, Kim. Keep pets leashed. Tammy, keeping pets on leash. Picking up after your pets. Absolutely. That's a really good point, Jen. asking before getting into an elevator, and keeping pets quiet, although that can be kind of challenging in a hotel.
Yeah, true.
That's when you use the drugs.
Yes, for yourself or for the dog?
Both.
Yesterday we were house sitting a little tiny dog, a little cup dog kind of, and I was walking with him, and a lady was petrified of him. This little thing wasn't barking, just walking away, and she was petrified. So you're right, it's great to ask before getting into an elevator.
And I find generally smaller dogs are much more aggressive than the bigger dogs. So I know that's being a bit biased. I have a smaller dog, but I do find that.
So somebody was asking about having a registry for pet-friendly hotels.
Mm-hmm.
I've just put that in the link.
Cool.
And it's for Canada. I'm sure there's something, if I just Googled pet-friendly hotels, I'm sure there's something in the States as well.
I was just getting a website there.
Back over to you, Shauna.
Okay. Were you guys able to hear me for a second there?
No, you were gone.
Okay, yeah.
I wondered.
We had a power flash, and so everything kind of went screw. So I was chit-chatting away, and then I said something, and there was nothing. So did you, I'll go back and start again with Brookfield. I think that you guys couldn't hear me with that, could you?
No.
Okay. So I've included the link to the 2014-15 APS policy, and the only thing that I could find in reference to pet relocation was that any additional fees would come out of your personalized benefit. And Stephanie and Jen, I know you both moved with pets this year. Do either one of you want to share if Brookfield actually did cover these costs, and if it did come out of your personalized benefit, which of course we all know is your own money and seems kind of unfair. Jen?
We didn't claim anything this time, but the policy was the same when we moved in 2013 to Winnipeg, and we did claim everything then. We shipped our dog, we kenneled him on one end and transport to the airport and everything like that, and they did cover it all out of personalized. Mm-hmm. It kind of sucks. I guess the benefit to claiming it, though, and not everyone knows this, is for the most part, when you claim something against your personalized, as opposed to just having it cashed out as payment to you, most of the certain things become non-taxable.
Yeah.
So you do get a little more bang for your buck. I mean, if you're out of pocket, so to speak, for those costs anyway, we always claim as much as we can out of personalized, because then you're not taxed on it.
That's a very good point, Jen.
And not everybody knows that. So, I mean, if you're saying, I'm out of pocket anyway, why does it matter? That's the difference for us anyway.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Keep in mind that relocation policies change frequently, as we all know, so it's always best to check with your relocation specialist to verify the policy for your APS year. It would be great if they would just leave it every year, but we know that's part of the fun of moving. Okay, so now comes your chance to share with the rest of the group your aha moments, maybe something you had not thought of before or something that impressed you most about the information that you've received. Again, using the pointer tool, which is in the upper left-hand corner, claim a square, and then you'll just have a couple of minutes to write down what you found was your aha moment. And don't forget to click away when you have finished. And give me a light bulb emoticon, which of course symbolizes ideas when you have finished.
And the aha moments can be with reference to the topic itself on moving with your pets, or also on using virtual programming.
Good point, Margaret. Thanks. Exactly.
Blah, 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 blah.
So far, we've got some great aha moments.
Stephanie, don't forget to click away from your, and Kim, from your screen so that we can see what you've typed. Thank you, Kim.
Good point, Kim. And Rachel, just, I know that you said that you did not know about pet passports, but one of the things that you had mentioned at the beginning was learning a little bit more about WebEx. Have you learned a little bit more? Have you found it useful?
Definitely.
Good.
It is not as scary as I thought it would be.
Yeah. Fantastic. We always love to hear that because it is such a wonderful platform.
Well, I am not computer savvy, so.
Well, you're getting very computer savvy.
Very easy and, yeah, it's
We hope you come to other sessions.
Absolutely.
well, this is number 2 for me, so I will keep trying.
Good.
Good. All right. So, Jen, learning about the PetSmart discount. Yeah, that's fantastic. Pet passports. Again, that's one of those tongue twisters that, you know, pet etiquette, pet passports. Fantastic. Pet food from country to country, Tammy. Yeah, great point. And Kim, I love that you wrote that down because this is something that would be me as well. Quarantine in the U.S., Stephanie, I was very surprised too that that happened to you, Tammy. And Rachel, of course, you did not know about pet passports. So those were great aha moments.
And I think mine, with reference to quarantine, is that quarantine can either be 40 minutes or 40 days.
Absolutely, yeah. And that was probably something that I had never heard of. We have moved a couple of times and come through the border many times with our pets, and we've never, other than them asking sometimes about the pet food, they never even so much as, you know, they said, do you have the paperwork? Yes, okay, and never asked for it. So that was very interesting. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of bizarre. All right. Now we will move on to the next slide. We're running a little over time, so we'll just keep moving along. So just like in a live classroom, it is very important to have honest feedback after a virtual session so that we can continually improve our presentations. Please take a few minutes to fill in the electronic evaluation by clicking on the link that Margaret has shared in the chat box and just follow the instructions. And you will need to click on the green ball, blue and green ball, to come back to the presentation when you're finished. If you want to go ahead and do that, and give me a green check when you're back.
And the blue and green ball, when you're ready, is at the bottom of your screen.
Thanks for the reminder, Margaret.
Do you want us to mute again?
You don't have to mute.
Not for this, I think. There's no video, so there shouldn't be any feedback. Well, I must say, Margaret, I'm very glad that other than that little power flash, our thunderstorm didn't, or there was no storm, so that my dogs could behave themselves.
They did.
They did. Although they are sitting right outside, I have the office doors shut. It's French doors, and they are both looking so sadly at me. Oh, funny.
Scripted this presentation beautifully, so I would have had no problem just taking over if you would have been lost.
Okay, fantastic.
like the fact that I have headphones on because I have no idea what my children are doing.
Neither do I.
I can't hear my dog. I can't hear my kids. It's so delightful. And then
I love how you
in a few
think.
minutes when I go figure out where they are. That's great.
Oh, funny.
Stephanie and Rachel, don't forget to give us a green check when you're back.
There we go.
Super. Thank you so much for filling that out for us.
That's fantastic.
Oh, the link isn't working. I can send it to you later, Stephanie.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for filling out the evaluation. We truly do appreciate your feedback, and we really do use it to improve any of our presentations or how we do things or anything like that. And finally, does anyone have any questions or comments? If you do, raise your hand, and we'll see what we can help you out with. Kim.
I just want to say it was really lovely listening to and talking to all the ladies today. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Thank you. It was.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
Great job.
Tammy.
I just wanted to say, as well as what you hear, what the other ladies have just said, very good job, well presented, and great audience and great presenters. So great job, team.
Yes, thank you very much. And it's true, without the participation of all of you guys, it would be a very flat presentation. It would not be near as much fun. So I really thank you guys for such wonderful participation. Kim.
I just noticed we could have emotional outbursts. It's there in red, so I really could have missed you guys. I hope we can talk again soon. Okay, I've got control now. I've got control.
Thank you, Kim.
Oh. Pay attention to the presentation. I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, so obviously we know there's lots to think about and planning ahead when we are moving with our furry friends, but they are all worth it. And it's worth it in the end to do all of this. And again, I'm going to email everyone all of the links that we've talked about. Hopefully I'll remember to put everything in again. If I've forgotten anything that I said that we would send you, just let me know. I hope this presentation was of value to all of you. Thanks again for being such great participants, and you guys were fantastic to work with. And of course,
we look forward to seeing you at Tammy's session. Tammy, do you want to give a quick blurb on your session, the date and stuff?
Hi there. Yeah, so I'll be doing one on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's noon Pacific Time on military lodging facilities for families. So some discounts. Talking about the CF1 card that Margaret had on earlier. So I'd love to see any families, anyone who would be interested to join.
Absolutely. Perfect. Stephanie.
I can't attend Tammy's, but I am interested in that. Will it be recorded, and can we watch it or listen to it at a different time?
It actually, yes, so it will be recorded. Yeah, so it will be recorded much.
Okay, is it possible to send me a link after it's over, or?
Yes, we're not going to make the link public, but because, Stephanie, you are working here, it's actually possible as long as Tammy's okay with it. And the other thing about military lodging for families is in the fall I'm working with CF1 Appreciation to do another session. So we'll probably have a similar session and use some of Tammy's information as well. So, yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Fantastic. And who do we have here? Rachel.
To get a link for the WebEx on Thursday, is that emailed out, or because I think I might want to do that.
I can definitely forward you the link.
We're going to put that in the after-session email for both sessions, healthy pet eating and the military lodging, and you're welcome to share those with friends. If you want to bring a friend, you can always bring a friend to any of our sessions.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Okay, and I have obviously one last big thank you, and that's for Margaret, who was such a wonderful producer for me. I've been able to participate in this class for a few weeks now, and Margaret is just fantastic as a producer, so everyone give her a big round of applause.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the end of the presentation. Thanks again, everyone. And I hope the rest of your day is as wonderful as, I guess, your morning has been, I hope. Yes, all right. And just to exit out of the presentation, you just, on a Mac, you would go up to the top left-hand corner, click on the X. On a other PC, it is in the top right-hand corner.
Great. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Thanks, Shauna. Thanks, Margaret.
Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm stopping the